If you find that the other person you're trying to communicate with tends to repeat themselves and get louder as the conversation progresses, and there's just this big emotional escalation, I want you to stop and reflect and ask yourself, what am I contributing to that behavior in the person I'm communicating with? Asking yourself that question is really important, because that's kind of a vulnerable period in the relationship and in the conversation where we could jump to a negative conclusion. They're getting louder in repetition because they just love the sound of their voice, or they're a jerk, or they're a bad communicator. But that's not the case. There's never a self-reflection of, what am I doing that is causing that response in them to me? So if you find yourself struggling with that kind of communication dynamic, here's what I want you to stop and try. Instead of hearing them and then jumping in with your own perspective, I want you to stop and try to articulate to your best ability their perspective. And it's like, well, why should I have to do that? That's redundant communication. I'm just going to verbalize what I hear them saying. Well, maybe that sounds silly to you, but here's the experiment, and truly test me on this, okay? Try repeating back your understanding of their perspective, and then see if the repetition goes down and the loudness goes down. Because if I'm right about this, that this skill works, people will feel heard and understood, which means they'll get quieter, not louder, and less repetitious, because the reason why they get loud and repetitious is because they want you to understand them and they're not feeling understood. Oh, they're not getting me, so I'm just going to say it again. And I'm going to say it with an emotional energy because now I'm frustrated. That's not good. That's not good in relationships. And then you compound that over 5, 10, 20 examples. Now you've got a real crisis on your relationship. So just run this experiment. When you notice them getting repetitious and loud, you stop and say, do I really understand their position, their point of view? And then let me be redundant and verbalize back to them what I hear them saying to me. Just test this. Tell me if I'm wrong. In fact, I want you to tell me if I'm wrong about this, and just give it a try in your relationship, okay? And then post about it, please.